What's going on, everyone? Brian's here. Today is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. I have something very important to show you guys in today's video. It's a very important lesson, something that I learned earlier this year. I thought I learned my lesson, but it seems I didn't because it was a day of a huge missed opportunity. Let's jump right into it. We're looking at the SPY on the daily time frame. Zooming in, we can see we had a huge sell-off today, more volume than the previous day, and we're currently looking at, I believe, around 10 or so percent correction. Yeah, about a 10% correction on the SPY. If we switch over to the Qs, the sell-off in tech continues. As we zoom in, the Qs are right now below the 50-day SMA, just like the SPY. We're hovering right around a 13% correction. Some are calling for a 20% correction, which would put the Qs down at this level, 242. I want to call out the RSI on both of them. Currently, the RSI on the Qs right now is at 40, and on the SPY, I think we're a little bit lower than that. We're at 36, so we're starting to enter in a territory where we will be oversold. As you can see, the last time we were oversold back in March, it didn't mean to buy the same day it triggered. We ended up being oversold for a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I believe, before the market actually started catching a bid. So that's not a reason to buy, but I do want to put it on you guys' radar as we are coming close to the 200-day SMA. Let's switch over to the futures and just compare the ES to the NQ. Which before the market opened, the Nasdaq was showing slightly more weakness relative to the SPY, so I did take note of that. The ADD didn't do anything significant. There was a slight gap up at the open, but I didn't use the ADD for anything in my trading today. I just want to point out that it's, in my experience, it's very rare to have a day where we have the ADD sell off this aggressively. I mean, we're practically in the final levels of the ADD, where we usually start getting some sort of buying happening for some sort of reversal. And so comparing the two, let's switch over to NinjaTrader, which you guys know is what I actually use to execute my orders when it comes to futures. The frustrating missed opportunity for me today was this setup right here. Pre-market, I already had this lined up. You guys know from my previous video, this line was already identified, and during yesterday's power hour, we had a strong close. The Nasdaq pulled back and consolidated at this level. I believe around here is when I published my video, and I was expecting the Nasdaq to continue to naturally gravitate towards here before meeting some sort of expected resistance. I got that level. If we just pull out for a bit, minimize this chart, and we'll go from the sell-off after Labor Day. Let's pull up the volume profile. I'll anchor it from September 6th because that's on the daily time frame where we started entering a consolidation zone after the previous sell-off. And I was curious to see what the point of control was for this whole consolidation, which was the bear flag on the daily time frame. I'll just extend it out for a bit, and let's let it go right here. This is, as you can see, the point of control was right here. You guys can see how this is the primary. You guys can see how this is where the majority of the shares was traded. Let me just extend this out to see right up until before the market opened. Again, this price action didn't exist. I had done this actually from yesterday, and you guys can see that's where I got this level from. And I was expecting us to at least run up to, if just the blue rectangle, or at least or final line in the sand before I knew bulls were really taking control, would have been over this level right here. So that's where I considered this to be a supply zone, aka potential resistance. We removed the volume profile just to keep the chart pretty clean. This yellow line right here was just another point of control, just anchoring the volume profile from when we broke down below that zone before the market opened. You guys can see right here, yellow line lines up with this. So that was the information in which I had. I'm gonna notice this head and shoulders pattern. Now, it might not be the cleanest head and shoulders, but it is a head and shoulders. It is a head and shoulders pattern. Again, might not be the cleanest one. Here would be considered our left shoulder. You guys can consider this the head, and over here we have a shoulder. So again, not the cleanest one, but a head and shoulder nonetheless. Let's clean those up. And here is our neckline. When I started my day this morning, was not completely rested, to be honest, but this plan was simple enough that I was able to identify this, and I said, hey, if this level holds, go long. If it does not hold, it's a clean short, at least down to this point of control. I want to highlight that again, because that, in a sense, is the moral of this story. I've been in this situation before where you can see a beautiful setup or a beautiful trade, a beautiful pattern, whatever it is you're looking for. It could be a confluence of a lot of things. I want you guys to know, whenever you see a confluence of a lot of things, it means a lot of other traders are seeing the same thing. Now, if all those confluences fail, it usually means the move in the opposite direction is going to be an explosive one. In this case, we were looking pretty healthy considering we had this nice bounce up. We had a couple days of straight buying. We had this previous resistance which broke and then held. We came back and we retested. Let's dial into a smaller time frame here. Here's our 5-minute time frame again on the Nasdaq. Gray line right here is VWAP. As you can see, this was at 5:30 in the morning is when we had completed this run all the way up to this level. I actually was up at that time, but I was not looking to trade. I didn't get to my desk until around 8, and I noticed we were pulling back here, so I actually went long at this level, and I was up about 35 points or so, but I was looking for a move at least to here, potentially back up to here. I have to admit, even though I did come up with a plan, if this fails, it should be a nice short. I guess I wasn't in the right mental space to flip the script so quickly. If you guys saw my video yesterday in the ES, you guys know I took a short setup. On my open and drive, and then I flipped the script right here and went long, and I caught a nice trade. Today, for whatever reason, lack of sleep, other reasons, meant I wasn't necessarily thinking so clearly, and as you guys can see how this ended up playing off, we had over a 300-point drop in the Nasdaq. If we look at the ES, we'll see that the ES ended up selling off. I believe it was close to 80 points, straight shot down right to this strong demand zone. You guys already know how I feel about this area. I pointed out in a previous video, but here we go. This is our point of control as well as our demand zone from our July consolidation. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this level, but I don't want this video to be too long. I really want to focus in on, again, this is the point of this video here. When you guys establish a nice pattern or you see something, it doesn't mean with 100% accuracy it's going to work, but whenever something is this clear or this clean, you can anticipate the move in the opposite direction to be very strong. This right here, the crack of this trend and the way it happened, it was very aggressively, was more than enough reason without any confluences or without anything to take this short trade. Again, I'm not upset with myself for the long that I took, because I did see this happening here. This was exactly what I was hoping to see, some sort of indecisiveness on the hourly time frame. As long as it held, I did like that. But once the market opened, man, it's like the rug was pulled out and we had this clean drop. You guys can see once we hit this point of control, that's where we had a little, that's where buyers did finally try to put in a fight, but did not hold. Let's go on a smaller time frame again. Here's the 5-minute time frame. Once this broke, there was a bear flag that was put in. I'll stretch it out for you guys. We did end up putting in this pattern here. So I know for some of you might be thinking, well, why didn't you look for another entry? I knew my head was not right after missing that, so I ended up walking away for the most part. I didn't want to trade identifying that I missed something so clean, because knowing myself, I knew it meant that I was likely to end up failing on other trades or being frustrated and not thinking clearly. So I decided to walk away, but we did have a bear flag and a break that would have resulted in another trade. I personally don't like to take a trade so close to a point of control. Just in case things flip quickly, I won't be able to hold anything with conviction. But if we do switch over to Thinkorswim, let's look at the futures over here, and I want to point something out. We'll pull up the ES. We'll take a second from the Nasdaq, and let me actually go to the tick chart. This is the 1600 tick chart, continuation from yesterday. You guys know how I pointed out reading volume on the tick chart is an edge that I believe I have. This level is just extended from yesterday. You guys know I got it from the concentration of volume from the day before. Just extended it out, and then yesterday's close, I saw another huge volume spike, so I did draw that level out. As we can see, as the bell rung, we came down, tested this level, we popped back up on the ES, and then we cracked, we came back, we retraced, and then we sold off. After that, let's pay attention to the next spike in volume, which occurred right here at 10:39. I did drawing this out right here. We'll see how we bounce. We tested it. A little bit of chop, broke, retrace, and we see how there was a clean short right here to be made, right down to this significant level. If we move forward, we'll see how we bounced off of this level, got rejected here, came back down, and then we had another clean break of this level. Something that I personally need to work on is just because I missed the entry up here does not mean I need to take the rest of the day off. I am personally working on it. When you're day trading, you're forever making improvements and fine tweaking yourself, but most importantly, monitoring your psychology, monitoring the emotional state and mood in which you're in for the day. But there were A+ trades to be made. There were Fibonacci retracements, which you guys know I like. There were a lot of other opportunities because yeah, it might not have been here, but even from here to call it this level, that's still a 22-point drop, and then down to this level you're looking at 45 points and full 45 points, and for the full move a 48-point drop. Zoom out one more time, and let's actually go back to the 15-minute time frame, because I do want to point something out. I did notice this later in the day. If we just extend this out, you guys can see here's our 50% retracement from the low to the swing high. 50% retracement was also in this confluence, so it was a break of multiple levels, as well as this price level, previous resistance, previous support. There was a lot of confluence in this area, so that would have been another clean trade. It was definitely surprising to see. So let's go back to NinjaTrader. Here's our going back to NinjaTrader, here's our hourly time frame of the Nasdaq. Again, the moral of the story, guys, I really want you guys to take note of this, because I've missed out on some huge trades, and it's one thing that I really want to emphasize. So I'll say it one more time. Whenever you see a really nice setup, create a plan for if it fails. When you get to the point that you're able to do that, and not only do that, but actually execute on the trade, you will see some amazing returns. This is not the first time this has happened to me. The last time this happened to me was actually trading Tesla, and a couple other times this year. So this is why I'm making this video on it. It's not just about my wins. It's not just about all the good sides. I also want to highlight missed opportunities. I want to highlight places in which I'm wrong. Hoping this will help whoever's watching this video. All right, that's enough of this rant, if you will. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, share this video, please leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. Like the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.